Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dishin Days. I am your host, stepping in for Tony Moore, who is not here with us today. I am Araceli Aviles. And to my this direction, we have...
I am the devil.
And
in for Michael Mattis this week.
And in for Justin Hareld, we have...
Hey guys, Orpheus here.
And leather jacket should be a dead giveaway.
You're Jake.
Who?
Just kidding. You're Jake.
Curly hair.
Curly hair, leather jacket. Justin, go. You go. Do we? Who's Araceli?
I don't know. No.
What the hell?
Are you Kate? No.
I'm
Oh, Camila.
Oh,
Gabby.
No. Jada.
Oh, Jada.
I'm Sierra.
Oh, I forgot. I totally forgot.
What's wrong with you guys?
No, because you were saying curly hair, and then last week you were like, us curly hair girls have got to stick together for Jada. So I was like, oh, she's Jada.
Oh, the chat room got it.
Thank
They're
you.
smart. They're smarter than us. Yeah.
Thank you, chat room. Yeah. I mean, I think Jada does wear a leather jacket.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want me to be Jada, I can be. I was thinking more Sierra.
It's a dual costume. You could be.
Yes. Just don't ask me to get on a motorcycle. It's not happening. Anyways, welcome to Dishin Days. We are obviously dressed up for Halloween. Halloween being tomorrow. I hope everybody is getting their party on, getting all those candy. You are not too old for trick-or-treating. Don't let anybody tell you that. And I hope everybody has a better Halloween than our people on the campus did, because wow.
It's a little rough.
Kind of rough on them this year.
Yeah.
Anyways, before we get into our top storylines, make sure to follow us on social media. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, at Dishin Days on Instagram, and Dishin Days on Twitter. We are also on all podcasts. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and our podcasts are on Apple, Google, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And most importantly, buy our merch. You can find our merch, dishindays.threadlist.com. You can still get the Possessed shirt, but then you could also start looking ahead towards the holidays with the rest of our merch. So
serving a full dish would come in on Thanksgiving. Those
oh,
holiday
yes.
Dinners. Yeah, it's a good one.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Some honey baked ham. A full dish of some honey baked ham and some mac and cheese. And... Ooh, okay.
I know you're getting hungry. You know?
How far away is Thanksgiving?
I
just need to get through one holiday at a time, guys. So, what did we think of this week's Days of Our Lives?
Really
Honestly,
good.
It was pretty good. Towards the end of the week, it got better. Mm-hmm. I was kind of bored the first half of the week, but then it kind of all came together the last two, like Thursday and Friday. So it was an enjoyable week.
Yeah, I really liked this week.
Yeah, I felt everyone's misery.
I mean, who's happy? Like,
that was
like who's happy.
The kids
were
the
happy people.
The kids.
Well, Kayla's kind of happy. Not happy that her kids are leaving. Like, yeah.
Well, yeah, but then again, so it's like, who's happy?
True.
Kids, yeah, they got candy. Rachel's happy. Seems.
Oh, Leo's happy. Got himself a job.
Who? Oh, Leo. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. One person's happy. Everybody else is just like.
Oh yeah, and the kids are kind of happy-ish.
Rachel and Leo, the two little bad.
Yeah, Rachel and Leo.
Okay. Yeah. Everybody who had candy this week was happy.
Mm-hmm.
That would make me happy. Candy makes me happy.
Yes.
Little miniature Reese cups. No.
I can't.
No, I love Reese's
peanut butter.
No.
Oh.
Can't stand
Interesting.
it. Nah, I go for the sweet stuff, like raw sugar.
Okay. We boring you, Justin?
Sorry, I worked really late last night. I got home very, very late. And, got very
on people.
Well, see, that's the other thing. It's like holiday season kicks up, and then everybody goes crazy because it's not just your family obligations you have to commit to. We were just talking about like Days of Our Lives is going to have a particularly hectic November, so we have to all schedule that into our calendars, and we're like.
And October is always such a busy month for me work-wise, so it's like there's always it's crazy.
All right.
All right. Without further ado, it's time to start.
Dishin Days.
Dishin Days.
Michael's always late.
Better late than pregnant.
Dun-dun.
Clink, clink.
Okay. Let's get started with the first storyline in which I don't know anybody who's happy here. Maybe Rachel. Brady, Kristen, John, Marlena, Rachel, Chloe, Stefan, Gabby, Lee, and Rolf. No, I take that back. Maybe Lee's happy.
Well, yeah, Lee can be happy.
Okay.
He just doesn't seem concerned at all that Gabby is still he doesn't care that Gabby's still clearly pining away for Stefan.
Nope.
And he's just okay with it. So
Nope.
So weird.
Yeah. Okay. Let me before I'd like to phrase this as a question, but I really don't know how. Do we think Kristen really believes that this plan of hers is gonna work?
Yes. I believe that she is deranged enough to think that it's gonna work out for her, even though this kind of stuff has never worked out before for her. I really believe that she thinks it's gonna work out for her.
See, I think she got basically a Hail Mary with the serum thing, because that has propelled this in this completely different way. I think this works more to her benefit. The fact that she can get Brady to break up with Chloe, which he did. And now she has Stefan, who doesn't have to come into and break up their relationship. He basically just has to be there for Chloe and keep her occupied. And I think that plan works a lot better than banking on the fact that Stefan coming back is going to, cause a rift in Brady and Chloe's relationship. You know what I mean? The hard work is done now. All Stefan has to do is sort of keep Chloe entertained and busy. It's Kristen with the serum thing sort of falling into her lap has propelled this other plan that she had going that really wasn't going to work anyway.
But doesn't it seem like Kristen's insanity is reaching a fever pitch almost, because she, even when she first came back, when going back to 2012, when Eileen Davidson first brought the role back to us. Geez, that was 10 years ago. Oh my God. Wow. When she first brought Kristen back to town, it seemed like Kristen at least had a plan, and she would go to a backup plan, and it was as if she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
And she knew where there were lines, and all this to say that it seems like Kristen has crossed a line into Crazy Town.
Yeah. I mean, she's so impatient. The fact that, she's so quick to put this plan in motion that there's no breathing room between him dumping Chloe and then him, first of all, getting with her, inviting her to move into Marlena and John's. There wasn't even a, hey, we're going to get our own place. You know what I mean?
I know.
It kind of made more sense to me. But the fact that she's I'm moving in here, it was wait, what?
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, it's ridiculous, but the whole plan is crazy, but it would make more sense if there was some breathing room, if there was some separation. Like we said, John is already onto him. Of course, Marlene, everyone who will eventually find out is going to be what are you doing? This plan is ridiculous.
Yeah. And it seems like she's not allowing herself breathing room, because in addition to wanting Brady to hop to, at her every whim. She's expecting the same of Marlena and John, even though Marlena and John don't know why she's there.
Yeah.
she's trying to get Marlena to snap, and Marlena's just looking at her like, nice try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the one to lose my cool in front of this kid.
No.
So it seemed like, and she's like gonna go snap at children like that. It's like she made a comment about like going to make the little boy who cut in front of the line pay, and I'm like,
okay, it's like calm down. It's fine. It's just a little kid. Like,
yeah. It really seems like she has reached a fever pitch of crazy.
Yeah, it's like she's like, oh, if we just pretend, it'll happen. Like, you know, the quicker we can pretend to be a family, the quicker we will be, or the quicker he'll fall madly in love with me or whatever. I don't know.
Yep. Didn't work for Sammy. Hasn't worked for Kristen before.
No.
Yeah. So we're just trying it again and making it more messy this time with the living situation. And but John seems to have already somehow caught on to what she's doing.
Of course. Yeah. I mean,
I was like, okay, that was quick. All right. Yeah. Well, let's see. I'm actually, you know, a little pleasantly surprised that they're moving this one along a little bit quickly, even though it is surprising because John was usually, and it's just so funny because back in the old days, John was the one to buy all of Kristen's shit, like without question.
Yeah.
And now he almost figures out, or we think he's figured out what the plan is like after a day. So it's like.
And Brady's kind of leading him there. Brady did a good job of choosing his words very carefully to lead John in that direction.
Part of me still wishes, like I was saying this last week, like if he should have just told Chloe the truth and they could have pretended or worked on the, like, I also feel like he could have told John and Marlena the truth, and maybe there can be some sort of backroom dealings with either them trying to like synthesize a cure. Do you know what I mean? Like there can be an alternative here. I feel like he's just giving up. He's like, okay, Kristen has it, so I just got to do what she says. And there's no pushback, which is a little weird. I feel like he needs to tell someone and confide in someone who can help sort of work Kristen's plans. Like, no. He's just, it's not like Brady. I feel like he's just giving up way too easily and just settling into this.
Yeah, I think the part of, I think what you guys said earlier about how Kristen didn't leave him any room to breathe to even figure it out. There was no time to come up with a plan. So he's really just making this up as he goes along and trying not to strangle her.
Leave that to John.
But no, the look on Marlene and John's face, though, that had me cracking up when she came through. It was like dinner's almost ready or something, and it's like
there was a lot of good emoting this week on the show, given faces and stuff, and that was one of them. Yeah,
it was. I mean, well,
the between Marlene and Kristen.
Yeah, I mean, Kristen, like, just it's not hard when Kristen is, you know, being the way she is. It's really not hard to be disgusted.
I do like what Brady said though to her, where he was like, you're basically playing, you're also not, in addition to trying to fool everyone else, you're also fooling Rachel here, and you're sort of conning her, and that she's going to see right through you in the way that you relate to John and Marlena. I thought that was a really nice sort of like point he was making. I feel like it hit her a little bit, not hard for her to like re-examine things, but I think it definitely hit her to be like, okay, maybe I need to take a different approach with this a little bit. But yeah, I'm glad that he at least voiced that. So I don't know, maybe we will get some wondering from Rachel. We know that lately she's been sort of portrayed as like she's falling under like Kristen's influence, and she could be a little bit of a bad seed, maybe. Well, not bad seed, but you know what I mean. She's pushing over more to the Demira side than the black side. So I think that might be an interesting sort of turn of events to see her sort of finding out who Kristen really is now. Yeah.
So over on the other side, Chloe did not have a good reaction to Brady moving Kristen in.
No,
I think it was appropriately worded. She, you know, I think deep down she knows something's up. Do we think that?
Yeah. I think the Rachel thing was one thing. The breakup for Rachel was kind of like, okay, I don't understand this, but
I'll support it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I can kind of get it on some level because she herself was sort of raising that point, but like Kristen involved now, it makes her incredibly suspicious. The fact that I like that she voiced that too. She was like, "How could you bring Kristen into Marlena's house?" Like, I'm glad to see somebody voice that of like, "Are you insane? Like, this is crazy." Yeah.
Yeah, it was just too much. But do we think that it seems like Stefan did come in at the right time? You know, he did, you know, he was a good friend. He got her to cheer up. Do we think that it will go any further?
I think it depends on how long Kristen, quote unquote, has Brady.
Yeah, it depends how long Brady keeps going along with this, and how long before it's figured out what the Kristen situation is, and then so if that's prolonged, then yeah, like Stefan and Chloe can keep hanging out, and something could progress there, and then as soon as it's progressed to a point of romance, then it'll come out about Kristen, and then that'll be the storyline that Chloe's conflicted between going back to her love Brady or being with Stefan. But then there's also the Gabby factor in there. If it also depends on if Stefan's memory comes back, and now we have Gabby that's also now had her memory erased, so she's kind of forgotten some shit, and so there's a lot of factors at play that will determine how far things go with Stefan and Chloe.
Yeah,
it's kind of a question mark right now. Like it could go, they could, you know, it could be prolonged a little bit, or it could be, you know, there's a wedding coming up. We know there's a wedding coming up. We saw it in the promo.
Yes,
so maybe that could be like, you know, the event where things hit kind of a climax with everything in that storyline.
Yeah. I gotta say, I really do like Stefan and Chloe. I liked them originally together. I thought it was when they first put them together, I thought it was an interesting match. I would have never thought to put them together, but I did like them together and their chemistry, and I like them now too. So I mean, it's weird. Yeah. It could go either way. The longer they keep with them, I could see.
I can't.
Like, you know what? I like Stefan and Chloe better.
Yeah, I can't say I'm mad about it. I think they do play well off each other, and there's definitely chemistry there. So I'm not mad about it.
Yeah. And it's surprising because this is the first week I'm going to say that I saw a crack, a potential problem ahead other than the obvious with Lee and Gabby, because obviously Rolf lammied her. And really, like, both of them, seriously?
Yeah. It was kind of lame. She had the upper hand the whole time, and then, like, 2 seconds later, like, the damsel in distress or something. It was a little clumsily done.
Did you guys catch this? The name of the drug that he gave Gabby? Did you guys catch it?
Yeah, I'm forgetting what it was, but I did.
Okay, it was like CRS 75. And I was like, that's funny because it was a joke when, like, you know, oh, you suffer from CRS, can't remember shit. So it was like, oh, I gave her a dose of CRS 75. I was like, that's funny. I don't know. I giggled at that.
Yeah, that was a lot. But anyways, so Ralph is apparently gone, and Gabby
in Chicago.
No,
Jakarta.
Oh, Jakarta. Okay, I was confused because I thought he said when he was on the phone, he's like, "How are things in Chicago?" And I was like, does he have a layover? Does he go to Salem to O'Hare and then O'Hare to Jakarta? And I was like, okay, I just misunderstood.
Yeah.
I thought he was like, "How are things in Jakarta?" Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear about that. Anyway, and just kept going.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't
but
care.
For now, it seems like Lee and Rolf feel secure in that Chloe will not remember that Chloe now despises Stefan for having made her sign those divorce papers. Yeah. But did anyone get a sense of awkwardness with Lee and Gabby at the square? Because it was, I remember a comment being made right before they killed off Stefan that Stefan had developed a relationship with Ariana and that he wanted to take them around the world and that he wanted to be a family. I didn't get the sense of that from Lee. Because it seemed like Gabby didn't want him to come. Like she didn't think he would be interested in taking her daughter out for Halloween.
I think it's just showing how like quote unquote, I said not immature, but how young their relationship still is. The fact that he doesn't really know. And again, Ari hasn't been around that long since they've been together, but I feel like they should have made some more note of it since she seems like maybe she's going to stick around. Well, we don't know now. We'll talk about that later with Sunny, but there should have been a mention of like, oh, it was great when we hung out with Ari last week, or it was great to have her sleep over. Like, you know what I mean? It feel like they're just now bringing it up of like, oh, I want to get to know her better. I'm like, oh, well, you guys are engaged to be married. Like, I would guess you would like to know her better. Like,
yeah,
right.
Stepdaughter. Yeah, I don't know. She's sort of been absent from it up until this point, but yeah. Maybe that's a hint that Gabby isn't that really that invested in him. If like Ari's opinion of him maybe doesn't matter as much since she's not that fond of him. Well, she's fond of him, but not not madly in love with him.
I honestly think for Gabby, Lee is just a kind of a placeholder for Stefan.
Yeah.
And so she's going with it.
Yeah.
But she's not as invested as she would be if she really had those feelings for Lee. Do you know what I mean? Am I making sense?
Yeah.
But she's going with it anyway because I feel like that's what she in her mind feels like that's what she needs to do.
Lee's like the good guy on paper or the good person on paper where it's like, oh, you should be with this person or you should like or love this person. And it's like, you ignore the fact that there may not be a huge, great spark there, but you're like, oh, this person's good. They're nice. They have a good job.
But see, now she technically knows. She's just forgotten it because of the CRS.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she knows it. It's in her brain. She just forgot it. So now it's a question of like, is that... So we have Stefan, who was brainwashed, who his true feelings can come to the surface at any time. We have Gabby that was told everything, but given the can't remember shit drug and doesn't. So now, it's a question mark of when that's going to bubble up to the surface. So all of these brainwashed and drugged, when's it going to wear off? That's, hopefully it's not months or anything, but
we shall see. Okay, that was our first storyline in which nobody was happy.
I will say I did like the what was it? The Horton Halloween. How did they phrase it? What was it called?
Hallow Scare.
Halloween. Yeah,
our Halloween scare.
The Horton Town Scare.
Yeah. I did like the mix up of all the groups together because I was like, oh, once each couple started mentioning it, and then I will say I did like the when Nicole couldn't make it, she called Chloe, and then we're reminded. Remember, Chloe's the one who gave birth to Holly, and then Holly was with her. He was with Stefan, and they all lived in the DeMira mansion together. And like that sort of like callback, I liked.
Yeah. Because Holly, like that storyline, like has been.
Yeah,
Holly's been kind of all over the place.
Exactly, she was with Chloe for almost as much time as she's been with Nicole. Yeah.
And didn't Chloe try to keep her?
She did, yeah.
Wasn't that the storyline immediately after
she
was her and Eric fighting for custody,
Another BFF.
Yeah. It was never about Nicole.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to Stephanie, Chad, Paulina, Chanel, Leo, Abe, Alex, and Sloane. Okay.
No, the other mess.
The other mess.
One of the other messes.
The other mess in which no one is happy.
And no one's doing anything right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oopsies. Sorry, guys. Shoot. Alarm's going off. Sorry.
Was that a chic wind chime?
Yeah. No, it was an alarm I forgot to turn off. Sorry, technical difficulties. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. Okay, so Sloane is the worst.
Yeah.
But it seems like
and she's just annoying. Like she's not like, and it's like she's unlikable.
Yes.
And like usually I can get on board with a good villain.
Yeah.
But with her, I'm like, you're just obnoxious, honey. Like I and maybe that's what she's supposed to be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, before, we had talked about how she was a challenge for Rafe and how we could see, she seemed to have chemistry with certain characters on the canvas.
Mm-hmm.
But this week she really was just the worst.
Yeah.
Even to like, it takes a very special character to make us feel sorry for Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been like defending Sloane this whole time, but this sort of storyline just paints her in like a really sort of just crummy, like personality. Just even her personality wasn't like before. I felt like they were going with nuance with her being a career woman and the stuff with Rafe and her doing her job as a defense attorney, like but also like having a conscience of like, oh, if Leo really did this, I'm gonna help you Rafe find him, stuff like that. And this sort of storyline just makes it seem weird. And part of it is like, does she even have a client?
Well, I know that's the other question. Like, who is this client? Is there actually a client?
Yeah.
Well,
is she the client? Who's calling the allegedly she is just acting on behalf of her client.
Yeah.
Who is calling the shots? Mm-hmm. So who is this client? Does this client exist? Those are the questions we don't know yet.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like we're going to get the answer to that until we get the answer to what the heck did Chanel do?
That's also the question. That was kind of, and with this whole like blackmail, fake money, the fact that I feel like the fact that it was the Chanel part of it is being kind of pushed to the side right now. Yeah. And I feel like that should be more into it because I almost forgot. I was like, oh yeah, Chanel should be like concerned because didn't Paulina and her have the conversation and she knows what's in that file?
Yeah.
Chanel knows, Chanel knows the dirt. Or that the client and Sloane know the dirt. So she didn't really, and she doesn't really seem bothered by it. And I'm like, that's a disconnect there. This was more, I feel like, again, this was more, what happened this week was more about Stephanie and Alex.
Yeah.
Than any of the other part of it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Chanel should be leading the story of,
Yes. Yeah. So then let's talk about that. So do we all agree that Stephanie was Stephanie just way in over her head, or were her actions completely unprofessional?
Both. Like it was like she was in over her head and she was unprofessional. Like the fact that she, broke and entered, that was, I understand why she's doing it, but still ill-advised. The fact that she went along with the fake money, like that was just dumb. And so I think she's in over her head, definitely in over her head. She's trying to save herself, essentially, her company, her business, whatever, but she's just not doing it the right way.
I mean, she could have, honestly, always thinking of like, what could she do? I'm like, okay, she could have like recorded Sloane and like trapped her there to like either give up the client or like ask for her like help in getting the client to like, either like get the client caught for, because blackmail's a crime. So like, she's still committing, like she's not just like defending her client, she's committing
a crime
going along with so I'm like, okay, you could have went like the legal route and to try and get it like hushed that way. It just she seems way in over her head. And I also feel like she's not forthcoming with Paulina. Like there's a point they made which I thought was good where they were like, we're not going to tell her about the counterfeit money because plausible deniability. And I was like, oh, that makes sense actually. But I felt like she could have told her that, like, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing because of plausible deniability, but know that I'm doing something. You know what I mean? It felt like she was just like, I don't have the file. Sorry. Like she was no like agency from her on that point.
Yeah. And it's like the number one rule, if you're an attorney, if you work in PR, if you're an assistant, is that you don't make a move without letting your boss know first. even if, like you said, plausible deniability, then you say that.
Yeah.
But you keep them updated. You do not dodge their phone calls.
Yeah.
No. Don't dodge the phone calls and go rogue and think it's gonna and just have that ego that thinks it's all gonna work out.
No, it's completely unprofessional. And if she and to be honest, if she really, it seems like this is her first client in politics, which was another big mistake on her part. If she didn't realize that this is like another level, then yes, Stephanie is at fault here because she put herself in a position to be way over her head professionally. And it's okay to not take the big fish clients if you're not ready for them. It is okay to hold off on that in your career if you say, oh, maybe I need to learn a few more things before I jump in here, because then once you're there, there's no one that's going to save you.
Yeah. Yeah. She could have easily said, like, hey, I'm working with someone on the inside, or like, I got a connection somewhere. Like, give me some more time. Trust me. I'm trying to come through for you. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it just she proved to be very inept at her job this week, which is really disappointing.
Yep. But maybe this is what will make her realize that she was in. Maybe she'll realize she was in over her head, and the after part of the storyline is maybe like, oh, maybe I'll just stick to corporate gigs or whatever.
Yeah.
She'll realize that it got away from her.
Yes. Now, on the flip side, Alex seems like a character who is fully capable of getting something like this done, and it seems like he is going to.
Yeah. I think I have faith in Alex that he's, he knew what he was doing, except, it was kind of, I'm like, she can clearly hear the keys jingling, and I'm sorry, file cabinets aren't that quiet. So it was a little I'm kind of in disbelief. Like, okay, if the bedroom, clearly she lives in a studio apartment for some reason. If it would have made more sense, like if she had been in the bedroom and he like went out into the living room and that's where the file cabinet. But the fact that it's all one big room, which is, by the way, Lonnie and Eli's old apartment.
Yeah, it is.
But props to Days for reuse, recycle, and read all that. Refreshing that, but I was just like, she could clearly, if this was real life, she could clearly hear what was going on, but she was like, what are you doing? But I was like, okay, he's kind of smart. Like, this week I was kind of almost on his side. I still think he's kind of a lech, but he was like, but he was, he even gave it back to Stephanie a little bit about professional, I was like, okay, I kind of liked that.
Yeah.
Even though, I didn't agree with what he did either last week or the previous week, where he like that confrontation. I was like, okay, that was not good. So yeah, we'll see. But there was a doorbell, and we don't know who it was.
Yeah,
possibly be at her door.
Trick-or-treaters.
Yes, I think
it's Halloween.
Like, he honestly could have put on some music, or he could have, like, since he knew he was going over there, he could have like come up with some surprise to say, like when he said, I'm getting you a surprise, like he could have brought something with him, or like something to like mask the time he was away from the bed. You know what I mean? Like, you're away a good 5 minutes and she's sitting there like, what's going on? What are you doing? I don't know. There could have been something there. He could have put on some music. He could have. I will say I did like the sort of I don't know if morality is the right term, but I like the fact that when he was confronted, it wasn't like, I'm all in for this. He was like, okay, you're breaking into her apartment. This is illegal and wrong. I'm not going to cover for you for originally. He was like, you're doing something illegal. What the hell's wrong with you? And then it was like, I'm not going to go over to, eventually he did, but he was like, I'm not going to go over to her house with the sole intent to steal from her. So he still has some feelings for Sloane and really enjoys her company, even if he's not, she's not
in love with her. Yeah. Well, they have a mutual understanding of what their situation is.
Yeah.
But I like that it wasn't like, oh, because you say she's a bad person, she's now a bad person to me. He was still like, I'm in the middle ground here. Yeah. I think it wasn't until like she sort of said something about like, it's bigger than this. It's not about my job, or like, she's doing something nefarious kind of thing that sort of piqued his interest, I think.
an interesting, like, and Stephanie doesn't know this, but he doesn't know that the information that he's trying to get affects Chanel, who he's friends with. So that connection hasn't been made yet.
That's interesting. Yeah, because Stephanie doesn't know the threesome, but she also doesn't know that they're just friends or that
right.
These are his only friends. Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think Stephanie's ever been in those conversations.
But but that's actually a good point. That if he knew that Chanel was in trouble as a friend, he would probably be able to. He would have
been more game sooner to help.
Yeah.
I think that's just like the not an icing on the cake, but an additional satisfaction he'll have if he does get the info. He does get it to Stephanie, and he saves Chanel from embarrassment. That'll just he'll be like, oh, it's all the better. It was for the greater good.
Yeah. So it's just what a mess.
Hashtag what days of our lives. Hashtag what a mess.
What a mess.
Storyline wise, not
show
what, like, you know what I mean, like characters, storylines, they're all in a mess is what I meant by that.
Now to another storyline that is a mess, and I don't understand why we're still talking about it. Eric and Nicole and Holly, a little bit of Chloe taking Holly off of their hands. First question, why didn't Nicole ask Rafe to take Holly trick-or-treating?
Oh, probably because of work, maybe, I thought.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That never even occurred to me. Her.
I just thought it was a work day.
I mean, we did see him. Didn't we see him at one point this week?
Well, he was there with Lee, but I think
that might have been the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the day before.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, a different day.
Oh,
yeah. So I understand, but then it was kind of like for a second, I think we all expected like somebody to say, "Oh, maybe Eric can take me."
That's what I was to see. Eric.
Yeah, and that didn't happen because Eric had to work. It would there was almost like an air in the room when Nicole said, "Oh, I can't take you." Yeah. But anyways, Eric took Nicole's photos and lingerie.
Did you see that dress, Nicole? The first dress, Nicole.
Oh my god! I was like, Ari still has it. I mean, and of course, this is a recreation of how they met when Sammy discovered Nicole, and this is how they fell in love, and
it didn't I felt like it needed to be okay. So the disconnect for me here was the first set of photos was like a glam dress, with a lot of boob, but still glam, right? And then it was like, oh, they're sending over more clothes and they want more photos. Then she comes out in like Fredericks of Hollywood. And I was like, is that what they said? Like, what does Basic Black sell? Like, are they selling like glam dresses or are they selling underwear? Is it like a Macy's or where they're just like,
did you catch it?
Like a department store?
This is where it's getting confused. I don't know if you guys caught it. They're doing Bella again. Because Alex mentioned
Bella
it,
magazine, and they did it. It was just like,
yeah, it was
just on the side.
They're Demira. They keep like mixing up the businesses though too. Because remember, like,
Bella magazine was Titan.
It's
right?
Titan. Yeah, it is Titan. Because
but Basic Black is under Demira.
It's Demira. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, why are we I mean, unless they're going with like their cult. They're basically using the art to put in the magazine, which I guess is like whatever. Free trade is not exact competition, but I was like, wait, what are we doing here? These are two different. I don't know. It just bothered me when he said it. I was like, wait, they're mixing up companies again, which they've done before.
No, you're right. And when they mentioned Bella magazine, I was like, I have not heard. Like, when was that? When did that get?
Actually, remember they brought it back with the Sierra and Claire thing. Remember when they were trying to like.
Oh, that's right. The star of the year or whatever.
But they kind of dropped it really quickly. They didn't like get into it like they did in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have really done something with that. Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
they didn't. So maybe they'll do something with it now.
But okay, so I feel I'm getting a feeling of deja vu because this time last year. I was in agony watching the Chloe, Philip, and Brady triangle and wondering
yes, you were.
when it was going to end.
Mm-hmm.
Now I am forced to watch the Eric and Nicole Rafe triangle, which will never, ever end.
Yeah.
I don't care how it ends anymore. I don't care. I just want it to end.
Yeah. You just want a resolution and to move on.
Yes, please.
Was it me or was anyone yelling at Nicole to like just mention this stuff to Rafe after we just had this big huge fight about like him being notified of stuff and trusting him with information? Like I was like, shouldn't you like just call Rafe to be like, hey Rafe, this is what's going on. I'm now modeling for Eric. Like I understand it's her job, but it was like you just had this big blow up fight with your husband about how you're trying to convince him you're not in love with this man.
And it was also it was also a last minute thing. You know, Nicole wasn't supposed to be the model. The model dropped out, and she just had to quickly.
She's done it now twice, so it's like in between those two different times. Especially like the first time, I understand because like it's work related and you're jumping into it. But I felt like the second time that was when you should have given Rafe a heads up of like, hey, honey. Not permission, but this is what's going on. I just want to be upfront with you. We've talked about this just so you know I'm not hiding something. I just thought that was kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah. And the only interesting person in this scenario was not even on this week.
I know. We didn't
is
Jada.
Jada. Miss Ilia Cantu.
Yeah.
She's not on this week, so I can't talk about her.
Nope.
No.
She's the only interesting person around this situation right now, and I can't even talk about her.
Nope.
Okay, so that was that for that. Before we get into our tidbits, I would like to remind everybody to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're on here, you're watching, please press the subscribe button, press the like button. Please follow us on our social medias, Dishin Days Show on Facebook, at Dishin Days on Instagram, and Dishin Days on Twitter. And follow us on all your podcasts. Take us wherever you go if you can't catch us live. And buy our merch at dishindays.threadless.com. Okay, let's move on to a storyline that actually has had several layers and actually it was interesting. Johnny, Wendy, Allie, and Chanel. So Chanel is about to tell Allie what's going on. Knock at the door, stops her. So put that to the side. And it's Johnny, and he asks Allie and Chanel if they would mind hosting Wendy for a little bit. Do we like this?
I didn't even think of this until he said it. I was kind of like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, I didn't exactly, Justin. I was with you on that, and yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes. Was there a discussion about him doing that, or did this just come out of left field?
I think we're supposed to infer it because of the stuff with Tripp and Joey didn't work out. So maybe we're supposed to just infer that she still needs a place. Which, by the way, I feel like I love when they like pretend like no one ever has any money for anything. Like she can afford a hotel room. She can afford a hotel. She can't afford an apartment. Like all this stuff is like, girl.
She's
like,
apparently a high level IT
exactly.
in Alaska, but I'm sure she's still making like a decent salary, enough to afford.
I'm sure she
a Salem Inn hotel room.
Yes, but I'm sure she's not a hotel room kind of person. I'm sure she wants to be comfortable. I'm sure she. I think the idea. I'd like that. Johnny explained that obviously he himself cannot host her because he does not want anyone knowing that they have a connection. That they're trying to work together on something, and I think it's I like this idea. It seems like very like 2017, 2018. When Sierra and Claire and Theo and everybody was sharing the same apartment. They were all in the same building, kind of a thing. It seems like we're going back to that time when let's just bring all of the young people on the canvas together, have them all be roommates like you're supposed to be at that age. To kind of, and it's this, I like this idea because it seems more of bringing them all back to their ages.
And apparently Chanel has officially moved in, which I was kind of like, they're like specifically stating it. Before it just seemed like it was Allie's place, and now they're like saying she lives there now. Which I was like, oh, we're going with that stereotype now too. Like we're going with that.
We got the U-Haul. We got the U-Haul out front, and
I know.
and everything. Like, pretty soon they'll have a couple pit bulls.
Yeah, but it seems like did anyone else just love Wendy calling Johnny on his crap?
I did.
I can't remember, what did she call him out on?
He was teasing. Remember, they walked in on Sunday, and I'm going to get to this in a minute, but they walked in on
I have thoughts
that
about
conversation, and Wendy and Johnny had a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect him to not have a reaction to that, because it's one thing for when your ex-wife and your sister are dating. It's a whole other thing when you hear about their sex life. So I don't necessarily blame him for that. But he did take the look. He was, teasing her as brothers do, and Wendy was like, "Well, let me tell you what I think."
Yeah, like you've gotten into your own sexual situations lately with interesting people. So yeah,
but it was interesting as how it wasn't judgmental.
No,
it was just hey.
It was just matter of fact.
Yeah, it was matter of fact. It's like, hey, do you want people calling you out on your exploits?
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of on board with Wendy with the girls in that apartment. Maybe it could be cute and interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's really hard not to like her.
Yeah,
it has a great potential for some good storyline. So hopefully it pays off.
Yeah, and she's been sort of relegated to the guys, whether it's Lee and Joey and Tripp. So nice to see her with some other women.
Yeah.
Now to the to the reveal, the very now public knowledge of Allie and Chanel and Alex's threesome. What the hell was Alex thinking?
Oh, well, what was Alex? Okay,
it started wrong from the beginning. Yeah. First Alex. Why? I
mean, I was literally screaming at the TV. Shut up.
Exactly. Now, I think for me, the reason why he shouldn't have said anything is because Allie is Sonny's sister-in-law. Other than that, I think it's fair game if between two brothers, if they want to talk and share their personal lives, then I think that's fine. Yeah. I think for me, it's the fact that it's Allie and she's a sister-in-law, so it complicates things in knowing what your in-laws are doing in their sexual life.
This is
line.
It's Sonny's you said sister-in-law, so it's kind of like his sister too, and you don't want to know that your sister-in-law is doing that, right?
Yeah,
and it's not like Alex didn't know the connection. Like if he for whatever reason didn't put that together in his head, no, he knew.
And it's also different, and it's also it's icky all around. It's also icky because it's not like that he sees her just as an adult. No, he's been in her life since she was a kid. So that it's just icky. You don't want to know that. And
and then why was Sonny seem so invested in it?
Why would you ask that?
I'm just like,
I want to strangle
him. Is he that riled up or pent up because his husband's not there, so he just latches on, or it just didn't. I'm like,
there's a line.
Didn't make sense to me.
There's a line. Don't ask the questions you don't want to know the answers to.
It was then just like that scene where he was trying to ask it. I'm just like, oh, awkward.
Why? Yeah, why are you
gross? Awkward. Why do you care? Why do you need to know? You don't.
The same reason why Alex shouldn't have said it, he shouldn't have crossed that line. This is your sister-in-law. Right. Why are you asking about whether she had a threesome with your brother? That's the thing you hear, and you keep that to yourself. Or maybe you tell Will over pillow talk, whatever. But you don't go to Allie and there was something. Not only was it the familial connection, it was also just I don't know if they realized when they broke, just a man asking a woman of so tell me about your sex. It was a little icky there.
It's just all icky. It was icky across the board.
Yeah. Yeah, it was strange. And I have to say, I don't know, was this last week the scene, or was it this week early on, the scene with Sonny and Maggie? Was that this week?
This week.
It was this
week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I loved the progression of that storyline, I have to say.
Yes.
I'm loving what they're doing with that. I don't know if we're getting Sunny's going to leave Salem now because Alex is in charge, and it seems like they're going that way, or what, or if Will's going to come back. I don't know what's happening. We don't read spoilers, whatever.
I think I can see maybe where they're going with it.
Yeah,
possibly.
But I love that conversation. It's funny too because I was as much as I love the interaction between him and Maggie and what they were saying, and I found it to be true on Maggie's side. But when Sunny was talking, I was like, okay, the past 5 years, it's sort of been all about you. Like, first of all, they moved to Arizona for you, for your work, because you were working with your brothers. And so Will willingly left and moved, him and Ariana. They went to Phoenix. Now you get the CEO job. Will is incredibly supportive of you and is like, go do it. We'll work it out. So that kind of rang false to me with the Sunny thing. It made it seem like they were saying, like, Will's job is always getting in the way. And I'm like, kind of early on in their relationship, it did a little bit, but I felt like the last 5 years, it's sort of been all about Sunny, and they've been following his career around.
Well, and there's also the reason for that may have been what happened between Will and Paul.
Yeah.
Like maybe that was and now maybe I just thought, I was just thinking about this. Maybe one of the reasons that Sunny is so agitated about it is because it was Will's work that led him astray, and he's completely across the country. Maybe he has feelings of like, oh, is he going to do it again?
Well, remember,
he's bringing up, like, it's bringing up some insecurities. Maybe.
Remember, Will's had 2 affairs. The first one was with a guy from LA when he was there with Sammy.
Oh, that's right. We just didn't see it.
The first guy he slept with.
Yeah,
that we never met, but. So I think
that's right.
Now he's in LA again doing a movie.
Will's kind of a dog.
It's like
how much of a skis Will is.
Sort of like history repeating itself. So I kind of felt like they should have went with that angle more than the like Will's job is tearing us apart. I'm like, oh, like he's
it would make sense if
the last few years.
If Sunny's like if this storyline progresses and Sunny's insecurities get the best of him, and then he does something extramarital, it should be brought up that it, like you just said, it would make more sense if it was because of his past with Will and not that Will's job is getting in the way of their relationship. That kind of falls flat.
I thought it was but I will say I love the scene with him and Maggie. I thought that was really sweet and introspective, and I thought both him and Suzanne, Zach and Suzanne were great in that scene.
Maggie's great. Take advantage. She has a lot of life experience. Please consult her. Oh my God, would the whole house would be so much better off if they just consulted Maggie before making a move.
I gotta say, remember when they were doing that, like Maggie is like Lady Macbeth thing, where like she was like in charge of Titan kind of thing? Remember with the stuff with Gabby and Steph and Jake? Like, I want to bring that back to Maggie, where, like, she was kind of in charge, and Victor put her in charge, and she was dealing with people, like,
I would like that, That'd be interesting. There's a lot of talk in the chat room about loving Zach as Sunny, and I just want to say I agree wholeheartedly. Sometimes the character does things not so crazy, but I do think Zach's doing a great job.
Zach.
That was a good recast on.
Absolutely.
On their part.
Okay, moving on to EJ, Chad, Ava, Tripp. And in the last 10 seconds, spoiler alert, if you weren't watching the last 2 minutes, and if you weren't, and especially if you weren't watching the last 10 seconds, we're going to talk about it right now.
So if you didn't watch, this is your chance to log off. If you don't log off, you'll get spoiled.
Well, if they're watching the show, they're signed on to me.
Okay, so we're talking about Charlie, who apparently is back.
So, like, do we think, so we know Charlie came back during the possession because the devil rose him or whatever. So this is clearly like she's just seeing him. This isn't like a real... Like before, where it was like a real zombie, he was a real zombie, quote unquote. This is just her hallucinating, or like
that's what I'm thinking. This is like Charlie's like her bad devil compared to Tripp, sort of convincing her to be a good person. That's how I took it. Like, oh, now he's the bad side of her manifesting.
Got it. Tripp over here, and Charlie over here.
Exactly. That's how I read it. Because we just had that scene where she was basically going to leave, and we know from the winter preview we see a little bit more of her, so it's like, okay, like we need something to maybe keep her on the canvas a little bit longer, maybe. So maybe this is sort of Charlie sort of convincing her to stay a little bad for a little while, and
we can't get 1 year without zombies.
No, without Charlie in particular.
Yes.
What up, Mike Manning? Stay booked.
It's because everybody loves Mike Manning.
I know.
Yeah, there's a reason they keep bringing him back.
Yeah.
Like when they keep bringing someone back, there's a reason. It's not because they're disliked.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and he's that natural villain, even in death. Like there is no growth there. There's no there. There's just yeah. So then Ava, Tripp does seem to convince Ava for a brief moment that it's time to move on. There's nothing left for her in Salem. You know, her one reason for living lives in another city. So they should be together. And it seems like Ava begins to agree. We know from the previews it's not going to last long. Yeah. And so now we kind of don't know what the plan is. We know that there was a lot of creepy clown stuff.
Do either of you have a fear of clowns? Like, was that like triggering for either of you?
I mean, not a deadly fear, because I purposely stayed away from it. Yeah, because I just, it's like, don't like, if you know things are going to traumatize you, please don't go towards them. Like,
Listen,
it's really okay to be that kid who walks out of the room at a slumber party. It is okay. Your future therapist will thank you.
Listen, they got a lot of mileage out of that clown costume, all right? We had 3 different characters in it to get. When Chad came in, I thought that was kind of funny.
It was funny. Well, I thought it was funny that I thought Ava was funny.
Well, that was
with her knife.
It was just too many clowns. It was nice to have things turned on its head and have EJ be a little spooked for a change.
Yeah. I know he was really like, you know, looking over his shoulder, and then it was Shushin.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that we got her back.
Yeah, yay.
So now we're now gonna have Kristen and Susan, because I feel like for a long time they were alternating, like probably to give Stacey, you know, breathing time to not have to play both characters at the same time. But now, you know, Susan's back, and I'm wondering what this danger is. Well, it's probably Ava.
That's what I'm thinking.
Is what she's talking about.
I love that she just grounds that character in a different way than we only got, I think, maybe not even a scene or two, because I think when Eileen came back as Susan one time, it was James Scott was there, but I don't know if they had any scenes together. And then he was sort of killed right after that. So
I feel like I remember at least one scene with them.
Maybe, But I feel like with Dan playing him, it takes a different. It's like a different spin on the character, of course. So I think having Susan there just grounds him in such a different way, and to see him, how he reverts to being the child, and to see a different aspect of EJ that we really don't know and hasn't seen. It's easier to accept with Dan, having a new person in there, and their chemistry is just great.
Yeah, and it seems like after everything that happened with the devil, that maybe with as much as their relationship progressed over the last year, that maybe when she comes to warn him this time, he might take her warnings to heart.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll interpret them as more like, oh, I'm in danger professionally or something like that. But he knows to take her more seriously now.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They know to take her. Okay, they should know to take her more seriously. It was like Celeste back in the day.
She's the new Celeste.
Every fucking thing she said was going to happen happened. And then couple months go by, and she has a premonition, and they're like, bitch, you crazy. And it's like, she just she just predicted something 2 months ago. And it's like, you're not noticing a pattern here. So I will say to what you're saying, Araceli, he should heed her warnings. But knowing the history with these how these characters are written, I wouldn't be surprised if he's just like, mother.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I say, you know, everything. Yeah. So Susan's premonitions are subject to interpretation.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, you know, they're not always linear. You know, they're not always going to be the devil is here and then we find out the devil is here. Sometimes it takes a while to figure out what she's thinking, what is coming to her. So yeah.
Remember, sorry, sidebar. When I saw Susan this time, and I don't know why, maybe it's because it happened a year ago, but remember when the devil turned her into a cat?
Yeah.
And someone made the comment of, why does the cat have buck teeth?
Oh, yes.
I just started cracking up because I thought of that little scene. Like, does that cat have buck teeth? It's like, that's funny.
Poor cat. Yeah, that cat was probably like, what the heck am I doing here?
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome back, Susan, and welcome back, Charlie. We shall see what they have to say on Monday.
So, do we think Tripp and Joey are actually going to go back to Seattle?
No, I think they may stay around for a little while longer. I don't know how much.
Do you think one will go back and one will stay, or because then there was the conversation between Tripp and Steve about him coming back. Hold, please.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's like foreshadowing something, or if it maybe triggered something in Tripp to, or maybe Ava. We know Ava from the promos that Ava stays in Salem for at least another week of shows. So maybe she tells Tripp. I'm just wondering if she's pulling Tripp if she's going to end up pulling Tripp into whatever she starts planning, and we're going to get that side of Tripp back.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Because we kind of saw when I really enjoyed Tripp last week when he was angry and like punching people.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I forgot. He kind of has that darker side that
he does.
Yeah.
It just needs to be aimed correctly.
Yeah.
When it's aimed correctly, it's wonderful.
Well, I think they did with him where they, he was sort of, when he went sort of a quote unquote crazy and wanted to kill people and even almost kill Kayla, it was like, let's take him so far the other side where he's now sort of the nominal good guy. And it's like, you can still give him a little bit of his edge back.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he's missing, maybe. Like, he doesn't need to go full crazy before. He doesn't need to, follow an Ava's.
Yeah, we don't need him to be his mother's son. We need to a reminder that there is a little bit of his mother in him.
Yeah, exactly. But also we got the scene with Kayla and Joey, and she's trying to convince him to stay. He's saying no, but then she's bringing up Wendy's chin, and she's like, your sister's here. Like, so maybe they'll both stick around for a little while, maybe.
Yeah, and we'll see. But it seems like, and we'll get into this now with what will depend on Tripp and Joey staying. Seems like a number of factors, and Orpheus might be one of them.
Oh, because they got that letter at the end, or that greeting card.
Yes, it doesn't seem. Yeah, and how do we think Orpheus feels about? We think that he'll be mad that not only were his plans derailed, but his plans were derailed by Kristen? Because that could be an interesting.
Oh, Orpheus versus Kristen.
When he finds out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or maybe, because actually twice now, because she got out based on him, right? She basically rode his coattails out of Yeah. I was going to say, I was thinking it was the other way around. So I was like, oh, maybe he'll call it even, but no. So she's sort of attached.
She's sort of in his debt, and she kind of, in a way, betrayed him by giving them the antidote.
Yeah. In an interesting way. Yeah.
So maybe we'll get an Orpheus versus, maybe we'll get an Orpheus versus
trying to do something. Yeah. Interesting.
Wherever he is, he's in, he's just basically in hiding, sending people notes.
No, he's in Statesville.
Is he in Statesville? Did I miss that?
Yeah, he's back in Statesville. Yeah, his parole was revoked for doing
right.
bad things.
Yeah.
He was Maine.
Maine. And that was your week of Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to our segments. Tony is not here, so we do not have a 3 Snaps award. So we will start with Michael Mattis's.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah.
It says it's playing.
Caption that.
Caption that. Okay. This week's Caption That photo comes courtesy of Leishan and Gabby dressed as Catwoman. And this week's caption goes to Heidi Ann 69 on Instagram with her caption, "Is that your tail or are you just happy to see me?"
Cute.
And that was this week's. See if it works. Caption that. All right. Apparently the sound effects are not working today.
No, they are.
No,
I can hear it.
them.
Oh, can you hear them? Oh, I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
They were playing?
Yeah.
Oh, they're not coming through on mine. How bizarre. Okay. Well, in that case, we'll move on to Justin's segment.
Those were the days.
Yes, this week I'm taking you back to October 26, 2018, where we had the return of Sarah Horton, a desaurused Sarah Horton. Remember, she is actually supposed to be, she's supposed to be Hope in Jennifer's age. But we got this version of Sarah, which I think she hasn't been on since either the late 80s or like maybe 1990, the earliest. So I think it was a way for them to bring back an older legacy character who grew up on the show, but we haven't seen in almost 20 years. So you can sort of start fresh with her. And I think they just did an amazing job and an amazing with Lindsay Godfrey sort of inhabiting this role and sort of making it her own and making Sarah just such a quirky, interesting sort of woman that we haven't seen in Salem for a while. So just October 26, 2018, we got Lindsay Godfrey as Sarah Horton.
Nice.
Those were the days.
Now it's time for
It's a gift.
And this week's goes to
It's so weird.
It's a gift. This week's It's a Gift goes to none other than Dr. Rolf and him speaking for everybody who didn't know that Stefan got Jake's heart. And I kind of agreed with him who didn't put that together, but then his face was just kind of like it was a gift it's one of those gifts that's thankfully applicable to many things.
Duh. Yeah, I chuckled when he said that. I was like, all right, we're giving Rolf some comic relief.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yes. Speaking for everyone about potentially lots of storylines on the campus.
Yeah.
And that was nope.
Okay. Now we didn't hear it. Now we know. Now none of us are.
Now you can't hear it?
No.
Okay. It's a gift.
Okay. Yeah.
That was this week's It's a Gift. Okay, and now it's time for
Here, I'll do
news
the-
and
Didn't work.
news and gossip.
All right, guys. Starting off, we finally got the word that yes, indeed, Days of Our Lives is having a Day of Days this year. Of course, there is their yearly fan event celebrating Days of Our Lives. It will take place Saturday, November 12th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Xbox Plaza at LA Live. It's free and open to the public. Masks are encouraged for anyone who's in LA or is traveling into LA for Day of Days. It's always a big celebration and worth sort of the effort and the money and time to get there. Basically, 90 to 95% of the cast will be participating in Day of Days. So I'm sure there will be someone there who you love and am interested in meeting. And they will have the usual that we know of right now. We're still waiting on some details of the progression of the day and how it may change from previous years. But they will have definitely the autograph sign-ins in the Q&A portion. We're waiting to hear what else is sort of going to transpire that day. But yes, we will be there. We are sort of excited and anticipating our day will be
We're
there.
sort of excited.
No, sorry. We are excited, but we're sort of waiting to see like what it will look like. In the past,
we're just kind of in a holding pattern.
Yeah, we've been
So
able to
in the past, the exact like schedule of things was never publicly announced. It just got to be known from attending like year after year. It never deviated from what it was usually. But, usually it's, the cast comes out at 10 a.m. They do a session of autographs from 10:30 to 12:30. Then there's a break. There's another session of autographs from 2 to 4. And then at 4:15, the cast comes out on a main stage. They do some Q&A. They show a nice long promo. They take a picture, and then the day is done. That's a basic rundown of how the event has gone before. But this year, with COVID and it's at a different venue, it's kind of a question mark. But regardless, it'll be a fun day. And if you're in and around LA, you should check it out because it's for free.
Yes, for free. Come check it out. Also that weekend, the next day, we have the Day Players Band performing here in LA at the Peppermint Club. Sunday, November 13th. Tickets and information, you can go to thedayplayersband.com. That is definitely going to be a fun show, and I think a nice way to cap off the weekend if you're in town for Day of Days. And get your tickets. I think it's, from everything we've heard, the shows have been really fun, and the guys are great and work well together, and they work well together, we know, and perform well together in this sort of genre. So come check it out. And you will definitely see us there. We'll be front row yelling and screaming. And I'm sure you will see lots of other Days of Our Lives cast members there who always love to come and support.
Justin, are you going to throw your underwear on stage?
Let's see. We'll see.
Okay. Like it's Wayne Newton in Vegas.
I may bring a few pair to throw.
Wayne Newton.
Yeah.
How like the ladies would always throw their underwear at Wayne Newton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they throw things at Lady Gaga too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they throw anyway.
X-rated, yeah.
It's supposed to be flattering in some way.
In other words, so we'll have to pick up some underwear, some extra underwear to throw.
Spare panties. Moving on.
It's getting worse.
So get your tickets and your panties for the show. Sunday, November 13th, Peppermint Club. You will
Please don't quote us on that.
Yes. And we'll see you there. You will be there. Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Look what happens when Tony's away. Let's go on. Yeah.
Next up, Wally Kurth and Cassie DePaiva have reunited from their time as Justin and Eve. A couple I liked back in the day. I liked them when they were together for that sort of brief period of time. This is right after Adrian, when he got divorced from Adrian. They were together for a little while. Anyway, they are starring as a couple in a new TV movie, I believe. There isn't too much information on this project, but name of it is called Common as Red Hair. It's basically about gender normalization surgery performed on children. So it's a really interesting subject, very fascinating with lots of different takes and opinions. And it'd be interesting to see how sort of they tackle this this story that isn't sort of common and well known, but is something that is happening here in the United States, definitely, and if not, all over the world. But they're filming right now. There isn't too much information on where it'll land or who has distribution for it, but we will definitely keep you informed. But it's nice to see Wally and Cassie working together again, and this time they're playing husband and wife.
Cool.
Yeah. Next up, we have a new Christmas movie from Allie Sweeney, one of our favorites. This one's called Magical Christmas Village. I think we briefly mentioned this when we talked about Allie's new deal with Hallmark Channel that she recently signed and sort of re-upped with them as star and producer. This is sort of the first project that comes out of that deal. It co-stars Marlo Thomas and Luke McFarlane, from Brothers and Sisters or the new movie Bros. Check it out. I'm sure this is going to be a good one.
Is that Jeannie Francis?
No.
Marlo Thomas.
That's Marlo Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Yes, you can check it out.
I've made
Friday, November 4th, Hallmark Channel. I believe it debuts at 8 p.m. But check your local listings and check out Allie's new movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was your news and gossip. And let's take a look at what's going to be coming up on next week's Days of Our Lives.
When you two are together, you create Magic. The last thing I want to do is cause trouble for you and Ray.
Really?
Johnny and I are just friends.
I am hitting on her in a subtle and charming way.
Xander is hot on the heels of an honest living. If you help me get revenge, I will make it worth your while.
You want me to kidnap Susan Banks?
Days of Our Lives streaming on Peacock.
Oh, Xander.
No.
Oh, Xander.
She's going after his mom.
Wow.
That's Ava's plan.
This is war.
Hi.
Oh,
Like I
man.
said,
Oh,
people-
and this. Oh,
People
so
vote for Maggie.
was it last week we were talking about like the missing car crash from the
Yeah.
the fall promo? Well, this may be where it's coming.
Oh,
into.
yeah, it might be. Yeah.
Ah.
It's true. Yeah, it might be.
Dr. Araceli's office, can you please hold? I have 2 calls ahead of you. Thank you.
So next week should be good. Ava looks good.
Oh, she's on, dude. Yeah, next week should be good. I don't want him to kidnap poor Susan, though.
I know.
Come on,
this is Xander.
Low, Xander. Low.
Yeah.
But it looks interesting. And,
I know, right? It does.
I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I like these promos now, these longer promos,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah,
kind
it's
of like
good.
playful.
Mhm.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is it my imagination? Hasn't Susan helped Xander at one point?
Oh, yes, because remember he brought her flowers when she got stabbed in the devil situation. I forget why. Remember, like he brought. That's what made him. Oh, yes, it's the
Yes.
That's what made the Sarah thing. Remember when she was kidnapped and Kristen, as Susan called him to tell him about it, and then he brought her flowers.
Oh, but it was but it was really Kristen.
It
Oh,
was really
okay.
Kristen, yeah,
But then Susan did end up kind of helping him out, even if it was just by saying,
yeah, by
"I don't
letting
know
him
what
know
you're
it
talking
was-
about."
Yeah, it was Kristen, yeah. So
Okay.
that's a little history.
Hey, landlines work in emergencies. I'm
No.
just saying.
Mhm.
Listen, and yeah, when stuff goes down, you're thankful you have a landline.
Yeah.
This message
Hey.
brought to you by Pacific Bell.
Oh my God, the phrase, the references that we're using today. Oh
Hashtag old.
We're dating the
my
show.
gosh,
We're dating ourselves, is what we're doing.
Yeah.
we really are. Yeah, like I'm looking at I still have my VHSs, and my niece and nephew came into my room and they were like, "You have such big books."
You're like, oh no.
I died a little inside. I died.
I have that. I have an old VCR. I packed up. I didn't throw any of that stuff away. I was like, I'm gonna keep it. And even with this move, I was like lugging it, and I was like, whatever. I'm keeping my old VHSs.
Yeah. Hey, some of it's worth money now. So
You never know when something's gonna come back or be vintage and worth something. So
hey, records came back.
just careful. Yeah, vinyl came back, and now they cost like $50 instead of a reasonable $8.99 like they used to at Record Town at the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we've gone off track as usual. But
Anyways, thank you for joining us. Please follow us on all our social media platforms. Dishin Days Show on Facebook, at Dishin Days on Instagram, and Dishin Days on Twitter. Please follow us on all our podcasts on Apple, Google, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and buy our merch, dishindays.threadless.com. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for our show today. We will see. Oh, that's right. Sorry. Follow Michael on.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MLMattis.
And you can find Justin.
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
And you can find me on Twitter at Tia323 Araceli, unless Elon Musk does some more shady things. We shall see.
Yeah, more. I was like, he's already started, so yeah.
Yeah.
Another show.
Stay tuned. Don't worry. You can find us here every Sunday at 3 p.m.
Soon you'll find Araceli on Instagram. Soon you'll find Araceli on Instagram with the rest of us.
We'll see. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll see you next week.
See you later.
Happy Halloween.
Mm-hmm.